So I wanted to also say a huge thank you to our wonderful member council. As we've heard from Denise, they do so much for the co-op, and we are so lucky to have such a great group of talented and committed cooperators to work alongside. Look, I am personally very grateful to all of you for your support over the last 12 months. I'm very grateful for the challenge. I'm also grateful for you keeping us honest and true to our cooperative values, and a real genuine thanks for me for everything that you've done over the last year. One of the things that, and I'm looking forward to what we can achieve going forward as well, one of the things that I'm really proud of that makes our co-op different is our heritage. So we were founded in 1844 by the Rochdale pioneers, as you all know, to provide fair, affordable, and ethical access to food and to goods, with profits being shared amongst our members for their benefit and for the benefit of their communities. Now, that is just as relevant today as it was then. And our heritage shows what the power of like-minded individuals working cooperatively towards common goals can achieve. Cooperatives are real disruptors, and they are powerful commercial beasts when they embrace what it means to be a cooperative and when they can work together as only cooperators can. And the commerciality point is an important one, because our co-op, and indeed other societies, can only have the positive impact they have on society if they are successful cooperative businesses, as it's our commercial performance that generates the value that we use to give back to our members and to deliver on our vision. But as you know, times have changed. The UK continues to face the challenges of today, and our challenge is how do we continue our journey to continue to create a modern co-op that is placed to win in these ever-changing times? And how do we use our difference as a cooperative, not only for the good of the society, but also for our competitive advantage? So shortly I'll be handing you over to Kenyatte. He's leading our strategy to define our co-op difference and to revamp our overall membership offering, ensuring better value for our members through lower prices and more member deals. Not to mention that ambition that I mentioned to you before, which is the 1 million new members over the next 5 years. And of course, this includes not just attracting more new members, but also the next generation of members, because they are the cooperators of our future. So I'm really, really encouraged by Motion 10 today, brought to us by our National Member Council and supported by our Young Cooperative Members Group. And Motion 10 focuses on how the views and needs of young people are factored into decision-making across our co-op. Kenyatte will also share a little bit about the important role that Co-op Live and festivals can play in getting us to that ambition. Then Paul will share a little bit about how cooperation in action powers the work that we do in the campaigning space, including our work with government and other organizations on a whole host of subjects. But before I hand you over, I wanted to leave you with a little bit of food for thought. In March, Co-ops UK invited me to speak at their annual retail conference, and it was a real privilege to be in the presence of so many fellow cooperators and to talk about retail industry challenges and how, through the power of Principle 6, cooperation amongst cooperators, we might work together to address them. As I said earlier, times have changed, and cooperative movements must do all we can to move with them and to serve society in today's modern world, because after all, that is why we exist. But what does that mean? So as we look at the world around us, there are challenges and increased competitive forces everywhere. And because cooperatives and mutuals can't issue shares, we don't have the access to capital, scale, or investment levels to respond to or compete with some of these challenges. That puts us at a potential competitive disadvantage. But one thing we do have that the rest of our competitors don't is the power of cooperation. Now, I've been fortunate to spend some time this year with some of our European cooperators. Finland's co-op business model is a fascinating example of a modern co-op. The population of Finland is 5.5 million people, and a staggering 3.9 million of them are members of their co-op. And their loyalty scheme offers up to 5% cash back. They're cheaper than any other retailer in the market, and they outprice discounters, and they have a 47% market share. They own all of their properties freehold, they own a successful bank, and they own a number of other successful businesses. And Norway and Denmark have similar success stories. Now, what these organizations have in common is that the cooperative movement has come together to be very clear about what are core and non-core activities. While the independent societies have their own member bases and they serve them independently, they have consolidated buying, distribution, IT, marketing, and membership platforms, and they have benefited from significant economies of scale. This means that each cooperative can focus on serving their members and engaging with their communities. They focus on being formidable, cooperative, collaborative, competitive forces, which is why when I spoke at the Co-ops UK Retail Conference, I took the liberty of challenging our UK societies to look at this. We absolutely have to think differently about how we can be better cooperators by working more closely together. The question is, how can we work together to create a cooperative ecosystem that will challenge our competitors while promoting cooperative values and doing good business as only we can? Can we let go of the past and focus instead on what we have now and where we might go from here? And how do we create a modern cooperative movement for today's modern world, with Principle 6 providing that competitive edge against the world? And then what will that allow us to do, and collectively for our members, our country, our communities, our colleagues? And how do we do this together so that all of our co-ops are successful cooperative businesses? A point to ponder. And on that note, I'll hand you over to Kenyatte and Paul to talk about some of the work that our co-op will be doing. Thank
you. Good morning. Afternoon? Is it afternoon yet? I'm not sure. My name is Kenyatte Nelson. I have the privilege of being your Chief Membership and Customer Officer. Thank you for the dedication and commitment and generosity of your time. I'm going to talk to you about some work we're doing to define what I think can be a very bold future for our organization, our cooperative. Two things in that context. The first is how we define our difference, and the second is how we evolve our membership proposition so that it's fit for purpose as we evolve, grow, and sustain our cooperative. In the context of the first, it would be no surprise to anyone in this room that we're looking to define our difference through the lens of and in the context of membership. As you've heard others talk on the stage today, we're an organization that is owned by and run for our members, and we are, frankly and fundamentally, about the business of creating shared and sustainable value for our member owners and for their communities. It's probably fair to say we haven't done the best job of telling that story more recently in the last couple of years. That, however, has to change, and it will change, and there's a few reasons for that. The first is membership is central to who and what we are as a cooperative, and we've also learned, you heard Shirine talk about Principle 6 and talking to other cooperatives. We've had various conversations. What we've learned is membership and doubling down on this as a core tenet can be a powerful driver of commercial success. Also, it's a powerful differentiator. It makes us different versus other competitors in the markets we participate in. And fundamentally, the power of cooperation, we know, is distinctive. We know the power of cooperation is motivating. And we know that the power of cooperation has and can change the world. In fact, instead of power to the people, it should say power from the people. Now, I think we've got an opportunity here to do something really special and reclaim the heart of the nation. But in order to do that, we have to remind them what the power of cooperation has and can do.
This has been a reminder of what the cooperative movement's all about.
And what, in your opinion, Mrs. Bernard, is it all about?
Well, if we've all got to live together in the world, it seems sensible to help ourselves by helping each other. But it's not the sort of thing to preach about. It's common sense, really, isn't it?
The co-op was founded in 1844.
Ready?
Yeah. To help people help themselves. Today, we have grown to include everything from food to funerals, schools, legal services, and insurance. But people have forgotten what makes us special, so we need to reclaim our roots. We're not like other businesses, never have been. We're owned by and run for our members. Our members are our owners, and our owners are our members, and they're all equal. £1, one member, one vote. No big shareholders calling all the shots here. We're not about making a few people very rich. We're about creating value for all our members and their communities, making sure we do it in a way that's sustainable and profitable. Our members own our co-op, and it's a wonderful thing to own. Whether it's access to quality products and services, sustainably sourced food, member pricing across every co-op business, money can't buy experiences or the support of our members' communities. When you're a co-op member, it all comes back to you. But why stop there? Let's give this reciprocity some serious velocity. What if we used collective buying power to drop the prices on our members' favourite items? What if we gave them a greater say on the products and services we offer? What if we used our members' data for their benefit, helping them to track their carbon footprint when using our co-op? What if we made it easier for members to have their say on where our profit goes? What if we brought cooperative power to more aspects of life, moving from share of wallet to share of life? What if we partnered with other co-ops so our members are part of something bigger? And what if we can attract more young members to power the next generation of cooperators? This is a future defined by our members. This is a co-op future.
Thank you for that. I mentioned two things. The first, defining our difference, which the video is about. The second is about evolving our membership proposition. And the way we think about this is pretty simple. Two things. Our job fundamentally is to make membership irresistible and indispensable. And in fact, I would actually add a third word, which is easy. Make a membership proposition that everyone wants to be a part of, make it easy for them to join and participate in, and make it so compelling that no one ever wants to leave. Now, we have 4.5 million active members, those who have participated with us in the last 12 months. You've heard our ambition is to lift that number by 1 million over the course of the next 4 or 5 years. I actually think we can do that faster than that. To give context, our member acquisition rate just 4 weeks ago was about 10,000 new members per week. Through the great work that the team has done, that we've doubled that number in the last 4 weeks. It's now tracking above 20,000 new members per week and rising. And we're just getting started here. Now, in order to maintain that trajectory, a few things have to be true. The first is we have to make sure that membership exists and is fundamentally integrated into every touch point. And that is across the 2+2 mechanic that allows members to save and earn and spend for themselves and their communities, the bits around community engagement and involvement. When we talk about member pricing across our co-op, personalized offers, gamification in the app, we have to make sure that membership is central at every touch point and every interaction for our members across our cooperative. The second, we need to make membership compelling and differentiated. It cannot be just about loyalty. Lots of businesses, particularly in food, do loyalty schemes. We're not looking to copycat because we can offer so much more. This is about enabling engagement in our cooperative, support of local communities, and also participation across our mutual. And then we have an ambition. You've heard us talk about a new generation of cooperators. We're focused on two things in this context. The first is making sure that we retain our existing membership base, many of whom are sitting demographically over the age of 50, but also, while we're doing the retention job, also driving acquisition and topping up the top of the funnel with new cooperators. I'll talk about that here in a second. And then importantly, our membership proposition has to exist across the span of our co-op. It has to be paying co-op, from food to funeral to legal and insurance, from wholesale all the way through to how our members engage with our community activities as well. We have to make sure our member proposition is embedded in every element of our cooperative and across all the business sectors we engage in. In addition to this, what we're also doing is turning up the volume. And there are two things I'm going to talk to you a little bit about in this context, which I'm very excited about and we are very excited about as an organization. The first of which you would have seen, I think downstairs there was a sign that talked about our participation in the 9 largest festivals across the UK. We have access to and are speaking to about 7 to 8 million potential new member customers. We would do this across 9 festivals. 2,000 member colleagues will participate and help us bring these co-op shops to life. Over 400,000 transactions, and we're on pace to recruit somewhere between 12,000 and 20,000 new members across this activation. We will be speaking to our member customers, not just in the week of the festival, but also the 51 weeks surrounding as well. And we have the first party data in collaboration with our partners to do so. We're incredibly excited about this, and this gets kicked off this summer. The second thing, which you've heard a little bit about, is Co-op Live. Co-op Live will be, when it launches next year, the largest live music venue in the UK, sitting right here in Manchester. We know that around 30 million people will visit and attend live music activities this year. 80% of that 30 million are millennials. And you've heard us talk about recruiting and driving sentiment with a new generation of cooperators. This is fundamentally about one thing: electrifying membership. Co-op members will get access to tickets before anyone else. Co-op members will get access to money can't buy experiences. Co-op members will get access to VIP experiences. And co-op members in their communities will get access to over £1 million donated annually to our Co-op Foundation. So we're super excited about this. And as I said before, the key thing for us is 2 areas. One, defining our co-op difference and centering that around the center of gravity that is membership. And then secondly, evolving our member proposition so that it is fully integrated across all elements of our cooperative. And that proposition is both irresistible and indispensable. And if we do that with the right intent, we do that in the right way, I'm very confident, we are very confident, that this will be a big part of defining the future of this business. So I'll pause there, hand it over to, Paul. And thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, fellow cooperators. At the heart of any cooperative enterprise is the idea that by pooling talents and assets, members can achieve more together than they can alone. And there is no part of our co-op that this is more true than in our advocacy campaigns. Indeed, if you want proof of the power of cooperation, and especially the superpower that Principle 6 can be, then look at the campaigns we've run throughout our history. They show you the power of cooperation and how it can deliver real societal change. 2 examples. The campaign we ran to secure greater support for slavery survivors was approved by this AGM in 2017 and ran through until 2022. That campaign led to our co-op becoming the first British business to receive the Global Thomson Reuters Stop Slavery Award in 2018. The reason we were recognised by Thomson Reuters was because of Bright Future, which is the employment programme we established for slavery survivors in 2017. Now, at the heart of Bright Future was cooperation, bringing together businesses, the slavery survivors, and the charities who support those survivors so that there was a pathway back to paid employment with the dignity, respect, and hope it brought them. Now, who were among the first businesses to join the co-op group in Bright Future? Central England Cooperative, Mid-Counties Cooperative. And what has Bright Future become? Thanks to the incomparable Pete Westall from Mid-Counties and my own colleague Alison Scowen, Bright Future is now an independent cooperative with 11 businesses and 20 charities as members. And thank you. And who championed the issue of slavery politically at a local level? The Co-op Party. Through its modern slavery charter, the Co-op Party drove the issue into the very heart of local government, with dozens and dozens of local councils adopting that charter. So what powered that campaign to support slavery survivors? Cooperators, cooperatives, and the cooperative movement. The same is true of Safer Colleagues, Safer Communities, which Sean alluded to before. We created through that campaign a political profile that was so large that it made legal change to protect shop workers impossible to deny. That meant that we worked right the way across the political spectrum, securing support from every party in Westminster. We also worked together to bring the whole retail sector as one, with 100 CEOs of high street businesses signing open letters to the Prime Minister demanding greater protection. We marched shoulder to shoulder with USDOR, who have championed shop worker safety for decades, cooperating across businesses, across the union movement, and across the political divide to secure change. And again, who was the beating heart of that movement? Cooperators, cooperatives, and the cooperative movement. In Westminster, it was Alex Norris, the Labour and Co-op MP for Nottingham North, who ceaselessly highlighted this issue and galvanised action. It was senior leaders in Co-op Group, but also senior cooperative CEOs like Debbie Robinson, Phil Ponsonby, Mark Smith, who put their names first to those letters that kept it at the top of the political agenda. It was tens of thousands of cooperative members who wrote or emailed their local MP to demand action, and it made it a live issue for constituency MPs up and down the country. Without Principle 6, we would have achieved nothing. Without cooperators taking the lead, we would have failed. But we did work together. We did provide leadership from the cooperative movement, and we succeeded in seeing new legal protections brought into force last year for shop workers. And our task now, as cooperators, is to make sure those laws are used to protect our colleagues. Now, my reflection, based on 30 years of working in and alongside government, is that it's a multiplicity of voices working together that will secure change. Sadly, that happens too rarely. But over the last few years, the cooperative movement has achieved remarkable things on public policy issues, from loneliness to slavery, to shop worker violence, to climate justice. We've not done it individually as societies. We've done it by cooperating. We've won because we're cooperators. We've won because we're cooperatives. We've won because we're the cooperative movement. And we will win as cooperators. We will win as cooperatives. And we will win as a cooperative movement. And we will win. Thank you.